Hey dudes, and welcome back to the Bantz. As always, I am your host, the Bantz, and I hope you guys have all been enjoying your weekend so far, and to hopefully go along with that, it is time for our second What's Happening in Fashion for the week, so let's just get right into it. And first up, of course, we have our headlines for the day. And for our first headline of the day, you might have noticed a little bit of something different behind me here. Yes, we are going to talk about the Vans Gogh and Vans collaboration. Now, for those of you who didn't get a chance to see this, it was announced sometime last week and came out yesterday, and if you couldn't already tell, I'm a little bit of a fan of it. I think Vans did a very nice job here, not only choosing which paintings they were going to use in this collaboration, but also in their selection of pieces as well. They had shoes, obviously this is Vans we're talking about, but on top of that they also had a nice selection of t-shirts, long sleeves, pullovers, even a jacket, and some hats to go along with it. I only had one major complaint about this collection, and that is, unfortunately, it was mainly targeted toward women, in the sense that most of the apparel and most of the sizes that were in stock in most of the stores were only women's sizes. But the fact that this was a GR instead of a special edition release was really refreshing for once, and yes, that means that you can go down to most Vans stores and pick this up, although from what I've been hearing, it's pretty much sold out now. However, I have been told that there will be a restock on this, although knowing Vans, it will be very slim, so fear not if you didn't get a chance to pick it up yet. I'd still go check it out, or at least check it out in a couple weeks time. Then the Victoria and Albert Museum in London just announced that early next year they will be housing a 70th anniversary Dior exhibit, and I think this will be amazing. This exhibit will house designs from, of course, Christian Dior, but other designers that have helmed the label, such as Yves Saint Laurent, John Galliano, and Raf Simons, just to name a few. And even though once again this will be a collection, an exhibit that is strictly women's wear, if you are just even the slightest fan of fashion design, of fashion history, or just even want to know a little bit more about the brand that is Dior, if you happen to be in London anytime in the first half of next year, definitely check this out. Otherwise, be on the lookout for photos here in the next coming months. Okay, and now let's move on to our art stories for the day. And first up, Yoon Ji Seon showed off some of her mixed media self-portraits, and I honestly found these very interesting, albeit somewhat disturbing. But of course, that's the point here. If you're a fan of a little bit more of the eerie, the surreal, and seeing what you can do with knit pieces of art, definitely check this out. And speaking of surrealism, artist Aof Smith showed off some of his newest paintings. Absolutely love these, very vibrant, very colorful. And if you're a fan of pop art or any type of surrealism, definitely check these out as well, up there with some of the best. And lastly, and rounding out our surrealism trio, Tom French showed off some of his newest paintings, and these are once again amazing, but totally in a different way than the pop surrealism as before. These ones are much more highlighting on the black and white, as well as the brush strokes of the painter juxtaposed with the very realistic portraits hidden within. Honestly, some amazing works, and definitely worth looking at as well. Alright, now moving back into fashion. First up, a brand, Deadnight, showed off their newest summer lookbook, and I think it's a decent start. So just like many other up-and-coming streetwear brands, first off, this brand is a t-shirt line, so to say, as in that most of the pieces here are t-shirts, and even though yes, there is a couple other items such as a side bag and a pullover, that's just not enough to win me over as of yet. But I do have to say, with all of that aside, the graphics here are actually pretty well done. There are actually a nice amount of graphics here, and each one of them has a nice amount of variety to it as well. You can definitely tell the designer behind them actually put some time and effort into them for once, instead of just taking one graphic and pasting it across every single fucking color of t-shirt you can find. And I have to say that the further I looked at these designs, the more refreshed I felt. mainly because even though yes, there is a little bit of influence here and there, for the most part, these graphics seem somewhat original. Thank fucking God some people can still actually be original in streetwear nowadays. And personally, my standout piece, although probably not the most interesting, was the graphic on the actual ribbing of the collar. The idea has been done before, but never really implemented this way, and I really have to give a shout out to them for doing this. So if you've been looking for another very interesting and very decently priced streetwear brand, definitely check out Deadnight here, some very cool stuff. But I do have to say that I look forward to seeing how well they evolve in future seasons. Then just very quickly, I wanted to talk about the Akomplice Mi Bandera capsule collection. First off, damn, that is a name I have not heard in a long fucking time. But moving on to the matter at hand, there's really two reasons I only want to quickly cover this, and that is one, because it is somewhat political and that is not what this channel is about, and two, because it really is only the same graphic on every single piece, and you know how I feel about that. So if you couldn't already tell by the photos here, basically what Akomplice did is took these stars and stripes and switched out the stripes for a Mexican blanket. And personally, I think it's a very simple yet very ingenious way of showing off exactly what they were going for politically. And even though this is just one graphic overall, they did a very nice job of spreading it across multiple different items. We're talking a t-shirt, a long sleeve, a pullover, a jacket with some very nice detailing on it, even some hats, and even to top it all off, a flag if you want to drop a couple of bills. So if you like the design, or once again have been looking for some more interesting affordable streetwear, or maybe you just like to get political in what you wear, either way I think this is all worth looking into. Then let's talk about Bape's newest mix camo collection, shall we? You know, for a brand that I really do not, and I mean really do not want to talk about anymore, the fact that they just keep fucking up like this just really makes it hard not to do so. Now, for those of you who are probably looking at this and thinking to yourselves, haven't I already seen this before? The answer is yes. Obviously. We've talked about it before, but many years ago, there was the Klotz and Ian Connor collaboration, although that was definitely a little bit more toned down than this. However, earlier this year, Softnet's FCRB label also did their interpretation of a neon patchwork camo, which we also talked about on this channel, and this is probably the one you remember best. And when you look at the two side by side here, can you really say in all honesty that Bape did a good job here? Because God knows I fucking sure as hell can't. However, this concept may be brand new to you, and if it is and you think it's cool, then that's not a problem. Just make sure you pick up the Softnet stuff for how much better it is instead. And lastly, brand Sever showed off their spring-summer 2019 collection, and for as much as I like it, I still have to be somewhat cautious with it. Now, first up, let's take a look at some of these pictures. This is obviously a techwear collection, very heavy on the aesthetic side because everything else is black here. And I'm not complaining about that, mainly because I feel like that's what techwear should usually be. And although I do have to admit that some of the designs here look absolutely amazing as far as detailings go, as far as aesthetics go, and even from what I can see in photos, the fabrics as well, but that's just the problem. These are just photos. You see, when it comes to techwear, you can style it, you can model it all you want in 2D, and it will always look really, really fucking good. But unfortunately, that's not what techwear is about. Techwear is obviously technical wear, and if those technical components, those technical details, those technical aesthetics end up being very poorly made or cheap or just crap in general, then it doesn't matter how good it looks, it's not going to be good techwear. And even aside from that, one thing that has always really plagued new young techwear designers is being able to actually push out product at a reasonably substantial pace. I mean, there are just some people out there who just aren't really fit to be producing techwear, no matter how good people or fucking Reddit says they look in it. Shoutouts to Reddit, the absolute fucking worst site to talk about fashion in the entirety of the internet. But at the very least, I am at least somewhat optimistic about this collection, and I'm really interested to see how people start reviewing it as people get their hands on it. And finally, let's move on to our articles for the day. And first up, Heddles did a very nice overview / history of everybody's favorite Native American Japanese hybrid brand. That is, of course, Visvim. So if you want to learn a little bit more about them, I definitely give this a read. Then Highsnobiety did a very nice write-up, overview, and another history of Kangol, and especially some of the accessories they're mostly well known for. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the streetwear side of Kangol's backstory, their history, definitely check this out. And lastly, Highsnobiety did a very nice interview / overview of the Parisian brand Pressure, talking about their clothing, their magazine, some of their ideas, where they get their interest from, and so on. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this rather new brand, I'd definitely check this out as well. Alright guys, and with that, we've reached the end of our second and final whip for the week. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, if you want to read any of the articles I talked about today, or see some more photos from lookbooks I wasn't able to include, I've linked everything in the description down below. And if you are new to the channel, then welcome. We do these What's Happening in Fashion videos twice a week, usually on Mondays and Fridays, occasionally on a Tuesday or Saturday. So if you liked what you see and want to see more, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, if you just have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to talk fashion in general, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I am always willing to talk fashion. And once again, guys, thank you for watching these videos and supporting my content. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and as always, until next time.